So if people on FTX selling their Bitcoin.
It's either that or it could have been the guy hacking it. But
Well,
there's a lot of movement, maybe off exchanges, like you mentioned, right?
Oh, okay, it's just off exchange kind of thing.
people are like, holy shit, I got money on this exchange, I'm pulling it off, even though it's not FTX.
Again, this is all transactions. People putting on, people taking off.
From Bitcoin.
This is Bitcoin's transactions.
Okay. Yeah, so there's people selling all their Bitcoin.
Yeah, and then you'll see, this is Ethereum. Here over a 30-day period and a 1-year period. So, yeah, so when was merged? That was kind of here. And what happened in July? They did another update in the end of spring, right?
I think they did do a prep for the merge, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Or they introduced burning or something.
Yeah, there's something the protocol clearly changed here in July, so that was probably some sort of update.
Yeah.
So, and then the merge was September, wasn't it?
Yeah, September.
Yeah. Cool.
That's ETH?
This is ETH, yeah. That's over a 1-year period. And if you look at it, this is a 2-hour period here. And it's so softened so you can't see the chunks coming out of it.
That's so cool. What's this one? What's this site called?
It's called Jochen. I call him Joho. So Gochen, and I can just throw this on Meetup
Yeah,
or
if you could,
Telegram.
that'd be great.
Yeah, super handy. Okay,
It's a really good way to explain how it all works with the last, like, those 3 examples. The visuals were just awesome. To explain to somebody who doesn't know blockchain, it'd be like, this is kind of how it is.
Yeah,
this is why your transaction fails.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, it's so cool.
Okay, let me jump through these slides real quick here first. Anything we've done will Cardano, the network, it's a unique social and financial operating system based on blockchain tech. It's built to make the world work more fairly and efficiently for everyone by simplifying processes and improving transactions across all industries. So our intent is to secure a decentralized way for everybody to connect and transact safely and directly, giving power to people everywhere. So the vision is to bring new and open and inclusive standard in technology to challenge the old and activate a new age of sustainable, globally distributed innovation. So Cardano offers a secure, transparent, and scalable template required to power financial and social operating system of the future. So ADA cryptocurrency, everybody knows about that, clearly. So the name came from 19th century programmer Ada Lovelace, daughter of Lord Byron. And of course Byron is one of the roadmap faces there too. Okay. It's important to note that every ADA holder has a stake in Cardano just by holding it. Whether you stake it or not, you have your ownership in the network. So the teams behind Cardano, there's sort of 3 kind of branches, right? So you got the Cardano Foundation, so they're nonprofit. They're in Switzerland. They're a supervisory and educational body for Cardano to support and foster growth. Input, output is their engineering group, responsible for building the blockchain. So all your protocol development and all your papers are coming from IOHK. And of course, that's where Charles is really plugged into, right? Mergo is a for-profit arm fostering commercial applications being built upon Cardano. It also has an educational arm, so if you're going to be taking any like the Plutus Pioneers program, or you want to learn Marlowe, or they do have Haskell courses for pretty cheap. So if you're interested in that, go check them out. So what do we got here for social and financial operating systems? So we've got, potential to use OpenID for hospitals, healthcare, open analytics, you can use for telcos and enterprises, open payments, same, open lend and credit, open insurance, and open banking. These are all potential use cases. So Cardano can act as a full stack solution for authentication, economic identity, value creation through Haskell-based smart contracts, low-code native tokens, UX-focused development environments, multiple programming language support, formal methods and provably secure code, and customizable, user-defined, and affordable on-chain metadata. You guys, I think we covered this yesterday, the roadmap, don't have to cover that. Biggest thing here is Byron. Byron is the base layer, that's kind of what started it all, and that's continually improved here every month to accommodate and plug into everything. It's foundational layer. So. Where does ADA sit in market cap? We're looking at the last 7 quarters here, so you can kind of see where we are on the list, and this is taking all the stable coins out of the rankings. So the last 3 to 4 years, ADA has always been top 10, and this just gives you kind of a comparison of where we're at for, again, just market success. So what backs ADA? I get this question sometimes, like, you know, what do you back? What's it back with, right? So what would a Bitcoiner say that Bitcoin is back with?
Energy?
Energy, yeah.
Proof of, it's like,
Yeah. The cost of the work.
yeah, proof of cost.
Yeah,
It's like-
Michael Saylor would say it's pure energy, right? Pure energy that you can transfer into the future, like transport it into the future and transport it to another geographical location.
Right, it's like storing the value of the energy that was used,
Mhm, mhm.
plus the cost of the goods that were being destroyed running 24/7, like
Right.
the graphics card and stuff.
Yeah. So the consensus mechanism and the way things are done is quite different on a proof of stake model, and these are my observations of what I see, right? So when you hold ADA, depending on how you use it, how you delegate it, so the scenario would be different if you don't delegate it, of course, but just by owning the token, it's got a limited supply, a limited issuance, you own a stake in the network, right? So that's probably the first thing. The second thing is it's kind of proof of attention. It's proof of community, it's proof of participation, and building through proxy. And what I mean by that is that when you delegate to a stake pool, all the stake pools you choose, or you're going to choose a stake pool to delegate your funds to, based on their theme, what they're reinvesting in, and what direction they want to take the network. Okay? So are they building something like API? Are they building oracles? Like, what do you think, how do you want to delegate, right? So you're doing a vote in the direction of development through proxy. You might not be building, you might not be doing the commits or building the code. However, as you delegate in a certain direction, you're encouraging development in that direction.
That is so interesting. That's so crazy. Such a good idea. It's just such a good idea.
It's like a missed thing.
Okay, so what industry-leading features and functionalities make Cardano unique? Well, Plutus and the Plutus Playground for sure. The Marlowe domain-specific language, which is much like, I would say it's not like it, but it's similar to Solidity, right? So similar in that it's domain-specific, right? So Project Catalyst, which is a voting mechanism that's built into Deadless wallets, built into a lot of the other wallets where you can vote, and that's very important. And as we talked about yesterday, that voting is payable. So if you do the voting, you get ADA back.
And Project Catalyst is a funding thing. So, like, if you want to start a Cardano gaming thing on ADA, you can make a proposal, put it into Project Catalyst, say how much ADA you wanted, and it gets
it'll help
voted
fund the
on,
development?
and you can get fund for development of
Very
it. Yeah.
interesting.
And they've got, if you go on Project Catalyst, they've got a whole bunch of areas. You want DeFi or whatever project, whatever your thing is, you put a proposal up there. If you get enough people to vote for you, then you can get funded.
That's cool.
So it's
Yeah. So the last Catalyst, I think it was Catalyst 9 or 10, I can't remember the number,
9,
but
yeah.
they had over $1 million, I think it was $1 million ADA or $1 million allocated to just voters. So the people that contributed to the voting to get the voter turnout, that was allocated to all those wallets.
Cool. Just to make sure that there wasn't just some random thing getting pushed through. They wanted to make sure that the community was
Well,
actually
it,
voting.
it
Well, they-
incentivizes people to vote.
Right.
People still push through stuff, so don't kid yourself. There's people who get their votes and they can push it through.
Right.
But people can also go and review every project on Project Catalyst. You can go and review it and you can get paid to do the reviews.
So when someone votes on a catalyst, is there stake in, like, is it how much ADA they hold? Is that
Yes.
calculated into the
Yeah,
vote? Okay.
if you go, there's a big hoop-de-doo about Project Catalyst. It's changing now to a thing called D-reps, because if you didn't have 500 ADA, you couldn't vote.
Right.
And so now everybody who stakes, you can stake your ADA to a D-rep, and then to whoever you think is gonna vote the way you want them to vote.
Right.
Like a,
Because before, the whales were just
Vote
you know,
whatever they want through.
voting where, and there was some stuff pushed through in Project Catalyst, and it's good and bad. Like, Project Catalyst is a really good idea, but if you go and see some people, they're like, some of the stuff that got funded, like, guys can put in multiple proposals under different names and get stuff pushed through.
Right.
But the problem is it's open, like, it's,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, like blockchain doesn't fix.
IOJK, they don't touch it, they give you the
Yeah.
million ADA, and it's up to Project Catalyst to figure out where it's gonna go, who's it gonna go to.
Right.
So people who have ADA, people like us, need to get involved and make sure that these people aren't hijacking the system.
Right. Make sure it's
and-
going in the right
Yeah,
direction.
I
And
think
they-
it's still centralized though at the moment.
It
because
is,
the funding is controlled by the catalyst, so basically they will like increment the deposit. They won't just get full cash immediately on the day. It's usually incremented based
Yeah.
on what you produce.
Right. That makes sense.
So they're sort of in charge of it, but hopefully that's where the Voltaire governance side comes in. But it's cool. The one joke, that one thing that got passed was called
Turbo.
Dataless Turbo. It's just like, how did that get passed?
yeah.
But again, the benefit at the moment is that like it's run by Catalyst, and Catalyst so far has been trustworthy in giving money based on them fulfilling their promises in their proposal.
Yeah, they almost need like a Shark Tank arm because 80% what's coming through there is like, really? Like, you want
Yeah.
money for that? That's not gonna work. Like, you need somebody to vet
Yeah,
the business worthiness of some of these
Yeah.
proposals, right?
there's some of that now. But
That's where the people that review are supposed to kind of flesh this stuff out, but even the reviews don't really affect anything, because the project doesn't get kicked out, it's still there.
Yeah.
So if people are, if you get your buddy who's got a stake pool, who's got $1 million ADA in there, and you get him, hey, vote for my proposal, I need, 50,000 ADA to do whatever with. Then they're supposed to be auditing it, like they're supposed to be going back and saying, hey, what did you do with this, 50,000 ADA we gave you?
Right.
Did you do what you said you were gonna do? But the auditing is way behind on what's happening there. But, I mean, it's, like, if you wanna get involved, like, Cardano's great. Like, there's so many opportunities for people on the ground floor to get involved and make a difference and decide what they wanna get funded and what they want it to do and where they want it to go.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you have a voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff like the Catalyst app, you're on an Uber taxi or whatever,
Yeah.
you can just spend your 5 minutes, flip through like that,
Oh,
that's stupid, and click on them and then send, and you're done.
And so, do you link your wallet to the Catalyst app?
I believe so, yeah.
yeah, and it gives you a little pin, so you have to stake, and then in the stake thing, it's in the terminal.
Oh, so you
shows
stake
you
into
that.
the Catalyst pool to get access.
Well, no, just to any pool.
Okay.
And if you've got 500, then you can, and I think that's changing, I'm not sure.
Cool.
But then once you're in, then you can get into Project Cat. You don't have to have 500 ADA to get into it. You only have to have the 500 ADA to vote,
Right.
which is way down the line. Like, now they do, the assessments go on, like, they haven't even started the next
Yeah.
round yet.
And 500 is it's like $200, right?
At the
Yeah.
moment,
At the moment,
it's
yeah.
around 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, okay, well,
yeah, it gets like.
yeah, powered by Cardano. Industry-leading features. Native asset capabilities is definitely a standout. Birth of stablecoins, we covered this. It's going to TVL the heck out of Cardano in 2023. So
Yeah.
once these are established in Q1, you're going to see, I believe, comparatively, you're going to see ADA go through the roof.
Because it opens the door to DeFi.
Yeah,
which is that's where the big money starts to flow.
yeah.
What is Plutus, the Plutus playground?
Plutus?
That's the code for smart contracts, basically.
So
The
that's
language?
their
Language,
solidity.
yeah.
It's at least the language that deals with smart contracts.
Sorry, so
More
then
than that.
how is that different than Marlowe? So what is
Marlowe's domain specific, and Plutos has got like the Pascal, and it's got the libraries, and it's got like the connectivity to make it all happen.
so? I'm sorry. So Plutus is used to make like the dApps on top of Cardano.
Smart contracts.
The smart contracts on
Yeah.
top of Cardano.
Yeah.
I think
So-
Marlowe is more accounting. I think Marlowe was created for the accounting part of it.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I just see Marlowe as being like Solidity. So Marlowe is a representative of Pascal, but it's made specifically for.
I don't know too much about coding, but I know that there was a talk today. I was up at like 2, whatever. Talking about how there's people using Rust and people using different coding languages. And it can use a lot of that. It just has to be, it has to be Plutus or Haskell has to be the one. There has to be that element inside the code in order for it to get validated by the chain. There's a lot of off-chain stuff that happens.
yeah.
You can use other stuff, which I'm assuming that's where you get Marlowe and other ones that can still interact with it, but you still need that sort of core code like Plutus or whatever.
It's like a connector.
Yeah, there's something that an interface that you compile with. You put your code in, and you got to error check it, and you got to connect it to a test net, and there's all these kind of plugins to it. So it's almost like a desktop sort of thing. Yeah, but.
Does anyone have experience developing smart contracts in Cardano?
No,
But-
not me.
No, I've done some baseline. I've done a few months of Haskell. I've done a few months in Plutus, and haven't deployed anything of worthiness to say, hey, yeah.
Right.
What's like Plutus based on?
Like for languages,
Yeah.
I don't know what
I
it's
know
made of.
nothing about it. Everybody says it's hard to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pascal is difficult to learn. JavaScript was okay to learn, but it was terrible to error check. There was always compiler errors. Like
Mhm.
the outputs were never what you thought they'd be, and you'd be searching for errors for like hours, right?
Yeah.
Based on polymorphism or whatever variable you had would change its state, not its state or its look. Right? Could change from like 0.01 and all of a sudden it's 0.010, and then everything's all messed up. So Haskell doesn't have that. So the outcomes are a lot more predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's harder to learn, but to deploy it on a blockchain, you're going to have less problems. Is the idea behind it. Whereas JavaScript is super easy to learn, but you spend a lot of time going through your code to find out what's not the output's not correct.
Right.
Sounds like Cardano's kind of work ethic though is like slow and steady, right? Or like
Yeah.
slow, like Haskell seems to.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
well.
called Haskell. Haskell was supposed to be the one that's more used by security and banking.
Yeah.
Same with like air traffic control.
Yeah, because everything's predictable. There's no guesswork.
And it's very condensed in bytes, so the code base is like 80% less than say a JavaScript, comparable JavaScript code base.
Right.
So it's not as heavy,
Yeah.
and because of that, it's quicker.
When you compile, it just definitely makes a big difference. Because there was different like types of JavaScript, right? Like you can have Kotlin or other, say, just normal JavaScript, and the amount of code you actually get at the end is vastly different than like between the two languages.
Right.
That's why what's it? Who uses Kotlin? Oh, Corda. Corda uses Kotlin
Okay.
instead of like JavaScript because it just compiles to a way smaller size.
Interesting. Why would you use Cardano? Other than, it's open source, decentralized, liquid staking with no lockups. So when you do stake, other sort of paradigms might have lock-in periods where you get penalized for taking it out. Whereas if you stake or delegate, you don't like it, point somewhere else. There's no cost to that other than the transaction fee. right? So at any point, that's why they say it's liquid, is anybody at any point can point in a different direction. Environmentally friendly, so we don't have a bunch of mining, ASICs and GPUs. The extended UTXO model, which is kind of 2 layers of, you've got your kind of accounting layer and almost like your processing layer, and they're separate.
Yeah, think of it like, I always think of it like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's UTXO.
Yeah.
And then ETH is just an extended. So it's basically just like a smarter kind of version of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In terms of how the ledger's made.
Seamless upgrades, so we don't have these, split where everybody doesn't, like BTC going in 4 different directions at once.
Even ETH, right? With the ETH 2.0,
Yeah.
they made a fork.
Yeah.
Where you had the old ETH with still proof of work, then you had the new ETH.
Mhm.
Whereas Cardano, it doesn't do that. There's no fork. Once it just continues the same chain, is compatible with older nodes.
Yeah, and it gradually takes over, and then once the new chain has got a longer chain, then it becomes, the other one just disappears.
Could a community decide to hard fork Cardano?
Yeah, I mean that's what happened with the last one, right? Like, is all the was it a certain amount?
With so many nodes.
Nodes had to be upgraded to the newest version, and then that triggered the hard fork.
Yeah. So you vote with your update. So if you don't want to update, so the choice is like, do I upgrade or do I not? Keep it the same, or do we improve it?
Right.
Yeah.
That's your vote. Right?
Yeah.
And anybody that's running a node's got that vote. So if you got a stake pool, or even on Daedalus, you just don't upgrade your Daedalus, right?
Yeah. So then, if what I'm saying is like, if half and half said like we don't upgrade, we do upgrade,
Yeah.
could it ever theoretically have like a hard fork where now there's 2 blockchains?
No.
No, it's got to reach a threshold, and that's hard coded. So I don't know what it is, 70% or.
So then
Yeah.
it forces,
Yeah.
and then so what it does is it forces an update on the ones that said
Well,
no.
no, it's not update. There's no update. It's backwards compatible.
Okay.
So the new nodes will probably run more than produce more of the blocks, but the old nodes still produce blocks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So what can you build on Cardano today? Well, first of all, you integrate Cardano into existing websites and services. You can issue native tokens and NFTs for extremely low cost. You can add metadata to transactions to give transactions a story, background, or even identity. You can prove the existence of a file, text, or any other data at a specific point in time with transaction metadata. You can even use transaction metadata to validate and verify external physical products and genuine articles. You can set up, manage, and maintain a stake pool. So if any of you guys are getting into learning Haskell or doing development cycles or anything like that, highly recommend you join us for some of these stake pool builds, because you have to have, as a developer, you have to understand how stake pools operate, and because that's kind of like the foundation of the protocol and how things propagate through the network, and the rules and everything are happening within the stake pool software, right? So that's going to be key to how you interact with it. Yeah, you can create smart contracts as well. So, what you need to learn. So, before you get into it, you got to study what UTXOs are from a Bitcoin standpoint, and then understand what transactions are, how addresses are generated, muck about those key derivations, like how to generate keys, and of course just general networking, the concept of UTXO, and later, once you understand that, learn the extended UTXO model, learn about tokens on Cardano, smart contracts and how they maybe differ from Ethereum. I don't think you have to understand Ethereum to understand smart contracts, but yeah, so we covered the EUTXO org. That was the one with the blocks coming down with the little huskies in there. What do we have here? The slots are 1 second each, and the 432,000 is how many seconds are in an epoch, which is 5 days. It's 24 hours times 30 times 60 times 60 is that, so times 5 days. Resources. Any guys devs who was interested in this? Why don't you take a picture of this? So if you need to, I don't have these slides in
My
public,
camera's
so
there.
these links here, Discord link and the where you find more info.
This is a Discord link to the Cardano Summit Discord.
Yep. Yep. You all got it? So we covered this yesterday. Who has not seen this? Yeah. So you see the NFT collections down here. They're kind of like what 40%-ish of what's being built on Cardano right now, and all the traffic that's happening within. And everything else is pretty much evenly being worked on, I guess. Metaverse, and DEXs, gaming, DeFi, data explorers, trackers. So what we expect is DeFi at 2% here is going to take off and probably take half of this within a year. I expect to take half of this NFT percentage away, market share. It's not going to, NFT is still going to blow up, but I would expect it to take more of this donut.
Oracles too.
Up to 25%.
I think that the whole pile just get bigger.
Hey,
It'll just get bigger. You won't necessarily take
we
away
can't
from
get
it.
bigger
Like,
than 100%.
no, but like yeah. But I don't think DeFi is going to take away from the NFT collections.
No, I meant percentage.
Yeah, percentage-wise, yeah,
Percentage-wise. So as it becomes used and
Yeah.
more things are being built on it and you get the traffic, then it's going to be proportionally.
Right.
As soon as you had DeFi too, you're gonna have much more oracles than 1.1%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they just launched,
And
well,
so
one launched just this last week,
And DeFi money
and
less
I think another one is coming out. So,
Yeah.
So the oracles will go up.
Yeah. So what? Maybe just do a side note on Charlie. What you know about Charlie? Can you do like a 60-second synopsis on that, or?
It's an oracle.
Yeah.
And it's started working with a lot, like, I think it's the oracle for Indigo,
Okay.
and probably some of the, I don't know about Minswap. Minswap's probably using somebody else.
Okay.
Like, it's the first oracle on Cardano.
Okay. So
It's
what?
actually working. So oracles provide, they verify the information. I'm not an oracle expert, but I know to get price and everything that you do for your liquidity pool,
Mhm.
the price has to be, verified or,
Right.
and the oracle provides that information, what the price of Cardano is, or the price of whatever the token is,
Okay.
so that they know what to set the pool at.
Mhm.
And you need to have more than one oracle, right? Because if one oracle goes down, how can the transactions be authentic,
Yeah.
well, not authenticated, but how can they be verified
So
or?
amalgamation of data, like data points. So it would be one data point is a result of 5 different sources,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, and I know a few people said, well, I'm not using Indigo because they're only using one oracle,
Right.
right? And then you have nothing to confirm whatever that price is. Like if you have multiple oracles, they can provide multiple information
Yeah,
points
aggregators.
to make sure that the liquidity pool or whatever you're
C3
putting in is
has-
right, so.
Sorry for interrupting. C3 had an interesting video. It's about 30 seconds long,
Mhm.
talking about like their oracle and how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to put that on the meetup, just in the comments?
Sure,
Just do a cut
yeah,
and paste
yeah,
for us, yeah.
yeah.
Like to hear that, yeah. Surprised they didn't get an award on that. Did Damon pick up anything on, didn't see that
No,
yesterday?
no. I don't think it was even, they
Don't
were
think
even
had-
nominated
they-
for
They
anything.
didn't have an oracle category.
No, yeah. Next year, I bet they do.
Yeah, maybe, because I mean, they only really launched on-chain recently. They've been around for a bit, but I forget what.
They've been
I feel like-
building for a long time.
I feel like it was like a week ago before they said, like, at least they finally said they went to mainnet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to wait for Plutus to come out.
Okay, marketplaces, I think a lot of these are NFT marketplaces. So JPEG Store, which won yesterday for being NFT kind of marketplace, right, for Cardano?
that's so funny. JPEG got star.
Yeah,
There's no E in it.
yeah, there's no E in JPEG.
Oh, no?
JPG.
Well,
JPG.
technically,
And I don't know what
Either way.
Snapdrilla is. Never heard of
Yeah.
that.
Snapdrilla, I think it has to do with gigs, so you can just put your own.
Yeah, they're like you need some work done, they provide
It's like Fiverr for Cardano.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. You can say, I can do this, or I got a task to do, this is what I want to pay, and negotiate from there.
Good old decentralized